The most ridiculous ways people became rich. Let's kick things off with a farmer from California by the name of George. No, wait, wrong George. This is George McKinney, a down-on-his-luck farmer who in 1848 was hired to build a sawmill for a man named John Sutter near Coloma, California. One morning, a fellow worker named James Marshall noticed something glinting in the water of the mill race, the channel that diverts water to power the mill. He picked it up, bit it, because apparently that was the scientific method at the time, and confirmed it was gold. Pure, actual gold, just sitting there in a river like it forgot to hide. Now, John Sutter desperately tried to keep the whole thing quiet, because the last thing you want when you own a massive plot of land is 10,000 wild-eyed strangers stampeding across it. That plan lasted about 45 seconds before word got out and the California gold rush exploded into existence. Suddenly, hundreds of thousands of people flooded into the region, and the men who already owned the land sitting on top of literal rivers of gold became obscenely wealthy almost overnight. The cruel irony is that Sutter himself ended up nearly bankrupt because all those gold-hungry maniacs destroyed his farmland and ignored his property rights entirely. But plenty of the early landowners and miners who were simply in the right place at the right time walked away with more money than they knew what to do with. Number 2. Sheep's luck. Peter Duell was an ordinary sheep farmer living in Australia in the 1930s, scraping by like most people during the Great Depression, when he noticed his sheep were coming back from a particular patch of his land looking a little rough. Patchy wool, acting strange, clearly not having the best time of it. Being a reasonable man, he investigated and discovered what was making his sheep so miserable was a weird blue-green rock jutting out of the earth. Naturally, he assumed it was worthless garbage and was mostly just annoyed about it. He eventually had someone take a look at the stuff, and it turned out to be one of the largest deposits of copper ore ever discovered in Australia, which became the Mount Isa mine, one of the single most productive mines in the entire history of the world. His livestock were basically trying to hand him a treasure map, and he was out there being grumpy about the inconvenience. Mount Isa went on to produce billions of dollars worth of copper, silver, lead, and zinc, all because some sheep had the audacity to get sick. Number 3. Lucky junk. Now here is one that will genuinely make you rethink every single thing you have ever thrown in the garbage. In 1965, a woman named Mildred Rogers was helping to clean out the estate of her recently deceased uncle in Silver City, Nevada. Standard stuff. Go through the belongings, donate what can be donated, toss the rest. In a dusty corner of the man's property, she found a battered old trunk, and inside that trunk was a collection of old papers and documents. Boring, right? She nearly tossed the whole thing out, but something made her take a closer look. Buried in that pile of what should have been kindling were original stock certificates from a mining company that had gone dormant decades earlier. The company had quietly been sitting on a land claim this entire time without anyone paying much attention to it. A legal review revealed the claim was still valid, and the land it covered had since been confirmed to sit on top of a highly valuable mineral deposit. Those crumbling pieces of paper she nearly dumped in a bin translated to a settlement worth several $million. The lesson here is to never throw anything away. The counter lesson, of course, is that most of us will throw things away and find absolutely nothing of value whatsoever. But we don't talk about that. Few stories hit quite as perfectly as this next one. In 1989, a man named Christian Roux was renovating his old farmhouse in the south of France, because apparently, Europeans just casually own old farmhouses. When he started pulling up the floorboards in the kitchen, beneath the floor he found an old ceramic pot, and inside that pot was a collection of gold coins. Not a few coins, not a little jar of ancient pocket change. Over 400 gold coins minted between the 15th and 17th centuries in remarkable condition, just sitting under his kitchen like a very expensive secret. Experts were brought in, the coins were authenticated, and they were valued at the equivalent of several $100,000. The man had been walking over a fortune every single morning on his way to make breakfast. Historians believe the coins were likely hidden there during a period of political turmoil by someone who fully intended to come back for them and simply never got the chance. Their loss, his kitchen floor's gain. Rue reportedly said he had absolutely no idea they were there and had been planning the renovation for years. The coins had been patiently waiting under the linoleum for centuries. And finally, perhaps the most aggressively stupid stroke of luck in the history of human beings making money without deserving it. In 1974, a man named Mike Markkula was a recently retired 32-year-old former Intel marketing executive who had already made a comfortable amount of money and was basically just hanging around. He was introduced to two guys working out of a garage in Los Altos, California. A couple of college dropouts named Steve and Steve who were building a little personal computer they believed people might want to buy. Markkula took one look at what they were doing, pulled out his checkbook, invested $92,000 of his own money, and co-signed a loan for another $250,000. He also agreed to work with them for 4 years to help build the company into something real. That company was Apple. When Apple went public in 1980, Markkula's stake was worth approximately $203 million. For believing in two guys in a garage who most of the established tech world had written off as eccentric weirdos with a hobby project. He didn't invent anything, he didn't have a revolutionary idea, he just showed up at the right garage on the right Tuesday and said yes. His investment returned roughly over 2,000 times what he put in. If you ran the numbers on that return rate, your calculator would probably just start crying. Markkula went on to serve as Apple's chairman and played a genuinely significant role in shaping the company, so it wasn't entirely accidental luck. The man clearly had brains, but the initial moment of becoming incomprehensibly wealthy essentially came down to a retired guy with some savings deciding to take a chance on a couple of Steves. And that is the kind of thing that will keep you up at night if you think about it for too long. If you enjoyed this video and would like to learn more history like this, don't hesitate to hit that subscribe button. See you in the next video.